probably noticed it for years, maybe your whole life. You enter a space and things shift. People glance your way and quickly look away. Conversations falter. Some avoid you. Others stare like they're unsure whether to be intrigued or threatened. You haven't done anything unusual. You've simply shown up. This used to confuse you. You'd replay interactions in your head, wondering if you said something wrong, if your tone was off, if your silence made someone uncomfortable. But over time, you started noticing a pattern. Your presence alone, without effort, without intention, often stirs emotions in others that they don't understand or want to face. And that's not because you're doing anything wrong. It's because you carry something that most people don't: authentic presence. Carl Jung, the Swiss psychologist, called this kind of presence psychic energy. It's not mystical. It's not dramatic. It's the quiet intensity that comes from deep self-awareness, emotional honesty, and the courage to face one's own inner world. People who carry this energy often become mirrors. They reflect what others try to hide from themselves. And that reflection? It can be jarring. It can be confronting. It can be overwhelming. If you've ever been told you're too much, if people seem drawn to you one minute and distant the next, or if you often feel like an outsider no matter where you go, it's not a flaw. It's a signal. You're operating on a different level than most people are used to. And while that can make life feel isolating at times, it's also a profound strength. Here are 12 reasons your presence overwhelms others, not because you're broken, but because you're real. And in a world built on pretense, real is rare. 1. Your honesty breaks the script. You don't speak to manipulate, please, or charm. You speak to reveal what's true, not in a way that's harsh, but in a way that cuts through the noise. Most people are used to conversations wrapped in social niceties, unspoken rules, and passive-aggressive hints. You bypass all that. You say what you see, you speak directly, and while your words might be calm, they land like thunder to someone who's never had their illusions challenged. People accuse you of being too blunt or too serious, but what they're really reacting to is the discomfort of clarity. Your presence invites people to get honest, and not everyone is ready to. 2. You're deeply uninterested in the superficial. Small talk doesn't relax you, it actually exhausts you. Conversations about the weather, celebrity drama, or the latest office gossip feel like static noise in your mind. You're not being judgmental, you're just wired for meaning. You crave conversations with depth, with emotion, with purpose. When people stick to surface-level talk, you can feel your energy draining, like a plant wilting in the shade. And even if you smile and nod, others can sense that you're not fully engaged, which makes them uncomfortable. Your presence acts like a quiet invitation to go deeper, and that pressure can feel threatening to those who rely on performance to navigate life. 3. Strangers confide in you without knowing why. You've probably lost count of how many times someone started telling you their life story within 5 minutes of meeting you. They'll say, "I don't know why I'm telling you this," as if something invisible has pulled the truth out of them. That something is your energy. You radiate safety, the kind of safety that doesn't judge, interrupt, or redirect. People feel seen in your presence, often more than they've felt seen in years. But while they unload their pain, their secrets, their hopes, you're often left holding emotional weight that doesn't belong to you. You become a container for other people's unspoken truths. But rarely does anyone ask what you're carrying or whether you have space for your own. 4. Your eye contact feels like a soul scan. When you look at someone, you're not just looking at their face. You're reading their energy, noticing what they're not saying, tuning into the space between the words. Most people aren't used to being looked at like that. They're used to glances that skim the surface, not ones that feel like they pierce the armor. Your gaze is steady, sincere, and full of awareness. It's not confrontational, but it feels that way to someone who hasn't faced themselves. They squirm, they shift, they laugh nervously. Because eye contact with you doesn't feel like being watched. It feels like being seen. And being seen, truly, is more vulnerable than most people are ready for. 5. You trigger emotions you didn't create. You've been in situations where you said almost nothing, and yet someone seemed irritated, defensive, or icy toward you. You wonder what you did wrong, but the truth is, you didn't do anything. Your presence alone activates something in them. Jung believed that individuals who have integrated their inner world, including their shadow, emit an energy that unsettles those who haven't. You don't even have to speak. Your very being reflects what others are suppressing. And that reflection makes them uneasy. You're not creating their discomfort, you're revealing it. 6. You see through facades instantly. Pretending doesn't work around you. You can tell when someone is putting on an act, trying to sound smarter, happier, tougher, more confident than they really feel. And while you might not call it out, you feel it, and it bothers you on a visceral level. It's like being in a room with artificial air. Something's off. Jung taught that people who are psychologically whole develop a sensitivity to fragmentation in others. You're not judging, you're just tuned in. But people sense that you see them in a way they haven't agreed to, and their reaction is often to deflect, perform harder, or label you as too intense for comfort. 7. You ask questions that dismantle assumptions. You're not trying to be disruptive, you're just curious in a way that most people aren't. When someone shares a belief, you naturally want to understand where it came from. When someone makes a blanket statement, you wonder what's behind it. You don't challenge people to win an argument. You challenge them because you don't take things at face value. And that scares people. It makes them realize they've built parts of their identity on shaky foundations. Your questions aren't personal attacks. They're invitations to think more clearly. But to those who have never questioned themselves, thinking clearly can feel like losing control. 8. People connect with you deeply, then disappear. They share their rawest truths. They tell you you've changed how they see themselves. They feel something with you that feels real, and then they go silent. No replies, no goodbyes, just absence. It hurts, but it's not about you. It's about what they saw in your presence, themselves, unmasked. That kind of clarity can be terrifying for someone who's never been truly vulnerable before. You didn't do anything wrong. In fact, you did something rare. You made connection feel real. And not everyone is ready to be that real, even if they crave it. 9. Your energy unsettles insecure authority. You walk into certain rooms and the power dynamics shift. Leaders become defensive. Loud personalities soften. It's not because you're trying to challenge anyone. It's because your confidence isn't tied to title, volume, or approval. You don't seek power. You are power. The kind that's built on inner work, not external validation. And that silently exposes the difference between true leadership and performative control. Those who rely on dominance to feel strong will often feel uneasy around you, because you remind them of a truth they'd rather not face. Real power doesn't need to prove itself. 10. You become the villain in stories you didn't write. You could show up with kindness and honesty and still somehow end up cast as the cold one, the rude one, the problem. That's not because of who you are. It's because people who haven't dealt with their own insecurities need somewhere to project them. And people with strong, clear energy make the perfect screen. Your boundaries become selfish. Your silence becomes judgment. Your confidence becomes arrogance. It's not fair. But it's a sign that your presence disrupts narratives, especially the ones people build to avoid accountability. 11. You absorb the emotional temperature of any space. Before a word is spoken, you know what's going on. You can sense who's anxious, who's performing, who's lying to themselves. You don't always want to, but you can't not. Your nervous system is wired to detect emotional undercurrents, and it often leaves you carrying tension that isn't yours. You don't just listen to people, you feel them. And that emotional absorption, while powerful, can be exhausting. It means you have to work twice as hard to protect your peace in environments where others are out of tune with their own energy. 12. You've always known you're not like everyone else. It's not about being better. It's about being different in a way that feels almost unexplainable. You've always been more reflective, more emotionally aware, more sensitive to things most people overlook. Even as a child, you probably felt like an outsider, like you were observing the world, not fully in it. That's because you're here with a different wiring. You're not built for shallow waters. You're here to dive deep, into truth, into healing, into awakening. That kind of presence isn't just rare, it's disruptive. It changes the environment just by existing in it. You are not the problem, you are the reminder. You weren't made to be digestible. You weren't born to blend in. Your energy, your insight, your presence. They are reminders of what's possible when someone chooses to live with awareness instead of avoidance. You stir the waters others have spent years trying to keep still. So when people pull away, flinch, or push back, understand, they aren't rejecting you. They're retreating from what you reflect. And that's okay. You are not too much. You are not too intense. You are not the problem. You are rare. And rare things often unsettle before they inspire. Keep being real. Keep being awake. The world may not always welcome your presence, but it needs it, now more than ever.